Time now for our weekly Palm reading. CBS Sports senior writer Jerry Palm joins us now. JP, we've inched closer to December 20th, and the number of likely outcomes of the college football playoff has shrunk. All eyes will be on the ACC title game a week from today, but let's start with Florida and Alabama in the SEC. Florida suffers their second loss on Saturday, now reduced to spoiler perhaps. JP, what are the implications out of this SEC title game outside of a trophy in the foyer?
Yeah, well, for obviously Alabama is the #1 seed if they win overall, and they might even be #1 seed if they lose to Florida now. Prior to the loss to LSU, Florida would have jumped Alabama. Now that's not possible. Florida's going to need help beating Alabama just to get into the playoff at all. Would probably need a loss from Clemson or Ohio State to open that door. I think they could jump A&M again, but yeah, this really sets Florida back. They don't have any control over their playoff chances anymore. They're going to need help.
What we do know is that it's going to be a fun matchup between Florida and Alabama in the SEC title game with big play capability all over that field. And the stage will most certainly be set for that matchup at 8 Eastern on CBS, as we will already have an outcome to the ACC title game when 2 and 3 meet in Charlotte. Notre Dame, Clemson facing off for the second time in 2 months. Jerry, both will be rested, both barring any negative COVID news, will be near full strength. How do these two stack up in your eyes?
Pretty even. I mean, we saw that in the first game. Clemson was obviously shorthanded without Trevor Lawrence, but I think more importantly, without some of their key players on defense. And we had an overtime game up in South Bend. So I think you can expect another tight game and probably a high-scoring game, maybe not in the 40s. But both of these offenses are really strong and hard to slow down. So I think we're going to see something similar to what we saw in the first meeting. I expect Clemson to win this one, but you know it's going to be a coin toss.
Yeah, nobody's spot is secured, but they do want to put their best foot forward as we head to playoff time. Jerry, we've seen an alarming number of cancellations all season, but specifically this last month or so. Is there any contingency plan for the committee or these conferences if one of these teams is deemed unable to play on championship weekend?
Well, I don't know that the conferences have got a plan for what could happen on championship weekend. There's not a lot they can do. The Pac-12, I had been kicking around the idea since Washington had a problem this week, and they're supposed to play USC, of having Oregon available just in case Washington can't go. But you can only make that decision up to a certain point, then you just have to go with it. So I suspect if, they can't play a conference championship game, maybe they try and put it off till Sunday or Monday, but you can only go so far before decisions have to be made, and you just have to go.
Let's hope none of those decisions do have to be made and none of that reality comes to pass, and we do have an entertaining and a healthy championship weekend. All right, JP, no changes from college football playoff ranking #1 to the most recent. Taking stock of Saturday's outcomes, Florida included here. You can copy and paste 1 through 5 once again, but what does it look like beyond that?
Yeah, I expect Florida to drop down a little bit, probably below Cincinnati, but still ahead of Georgia, one of the teams that they beat. And I think that's the floor for Florida. Now, Florida can get back up with a win over Alabama, but it doesn't really matter. If Florida's not in the playoff, they're probably going to the Peach Bowl, or if they end up ahead of A&M for some reason, if A&M were to lose next week, they could end up in the Orange Bowl. But for Florida, I think Georgia is the floor as far as how far they can fall.
Jerry Palm taking stock of the college football landscape here on CBS Sports HQ. Thanks, JP. All right, let's take a look at a number of those marquee matchups. Week 16 college football championship week. It's going to be Northwestern and Ohio State for the Big Ten championship in Indy. Oklahoma, Iowa State going to go at it for the Big 12 at Jerry's World. Clemson and Notre Dame doing battle in Charlotte. Alabama and Florida meeting in Atlanta with the SEC title on the line. Washington, USC going to go off Friday for the Pac-12 title. That's going to take place in Vegas.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.